What's going on, everyone? So there has been a ton of talk recently and even reports that the Chicago Bulls and the Phoenix Suns have exchanged in conversation about a potential trade, essentially swapping Zach Lavine with Bradley Beal, trying to work out some deal in that regard. Chicago would take on Bradley Beal, plus get a couple of those firsts that the Phoenix Suns acquired. I remember they traded an unprotected first to the Utah Jazz for 3 firsts. They'd probably send out 2 of those, 3 of those to bring in Zach Lavine, and then go and land Bradley Beal with Chicago, which from Chicago's side of things makes all the sense in the world, right? Because Chicago, they're not going to be any good for they're just starting the rebuild. So probably 3-5 years. At some point, Bradley Beal is going to be an expiring contract. They're not going to be any good at this time. So why not take the salary? Why not get a bunch of first round picks in the process and in the deal? For Phoenix, it makes no sense. And I've already talked about this, so I won't go too heavily into this. But again, you fall into the same redundancy. The exact same redundancy. Now, you could argue it might be easier to trade Zach Lavine than Bradley Beal because he doesn't have no trade clause, and if things don't work out, maybe a team would take him at some point because there have been some teams that at least have had some interest in Zach Lavine. Maybe that continues. But nonetheless, again, it's just, would you be better? Yes. Simply on the fact that Zach Lavine is just bigger, more athletic. He's better off ball. He's the better catch and shoot 3-point shooter. But you still have the same redundancy. You don't need a third 30-point-a-game guy or 25-point-a-game guy or 20-point-game guy when you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. It doesn't make sense. You have the offense between those two. You need to put the complementary pieces. Guys like Nick Richards was a great acquisition. Going and getting a Royce O'Neal last season was a great acquisition. You need those kind of guys. Those are the kind of pieces that you need to put around Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. Go get a point of attack 3-and-D guard that can just initiate the offense, give the ball to Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. They're going to give you 60 a night combined. And then you just have a bunch of dirty work players, hustle guys, and you'd probably be contending for championships. You'd probably be one of the better teams in the NBA. But no, they have to keep getting these stars that just are the exact same prototype as the other stars that they have. It makes no sense to me. It is so illogical. I do not know what Phoenix's thought process is. It blows my mind how bad some of these organizations are. Because it's just again, you're doubling down, right? Again, you have a bad hand, right? Just fold the hand, right? But instead of folding the hand, you want to all of a sudden try to go, nah, you know what? I'm going to pull this out. Let's go all in, right? What? What are you doing? It makes no sense. But they might not even be able to do the trade because Bradley Beal, based on reports that have recently came out, Bradley Beal supposedly does not want to waive his no-trade clause to go to Chicago. That he will not waive his no-trade clause, which is, again, the problem, right? Bradley Beal holds literally all the cards. The Phoenix Suns could go finish a deal, work out a deal right now. Doesn't matter, right? Tomorrow, the Milwaukee Bucks could be like, hey, we'll trade you Bradley Beal for Giannis. And if Bradley Beal goes, I don't want to go to Toronto or Milwaukee, guess what? There goes Giannis. Denver could hit their head tomorrow and be like, you know what? Let's trade Jokic to the Phoenix Suns for Bradley Beal. And if Bradley Beal doesn't want to go to Denver, guess what? You can't get Jokic. It's so silly why as soon as they traded for Bradley Beal, I was like, there goes their championship hopes. They literally just blew it. They blew all their championship aspirations. Again, I have videos on the channel validating what I'm saying right now. Literally, I was like, that was the dumbest thing they could have done. It made no sense. Again, basketball is not as simple as just putting 3 names on the back of a jersey, right? You need pieces that fit. They need to make sense, and Bradley Beal just doesn't make sense. I don't think Bradley Beal's washed. I don't think he's a bad player. I think if he went to the right situation on the right team, I think he'd be back to a 23 to 25 point a game guy, dishing out 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I think he'd be back to Bradley Beal. But on a team like Phoenix, where he's the third option, and he's not great off ball, and he's not good enough as a playmaker to be the point guard, and he's not big enough to play the 3, and he's not this elite defensive piece, right? He's a guy that is an absolute bucket getter, right? For example, and I don't want this to happen, but Lakers could really use a bucket getter, really use kind of an upgrade, just score. I've talked about Zach Lavine, for example, big Zach Lavine guy on the Lakers. Bradley Beal makes a ton of sense in that regard. again, there's just too many hiccups with it. Otherwise, I might be campaigning for it, but I just don't. Now, if you could maybe get the 3 first, it might not. It might be hard to say no. But in all seriousness, I don't want the Lakers to go with Bradley Beal. I want the Lakers to stay away from Bradley Beal. However, Bradley Beal does make sense on the Lakers, and I think on the Lakers he'd be back to a 23-5-5 guy. I think people would be like, "Wow, Bradley Beal was Phoenix. It wasn't Bradley Beal being washed, right?" Like again, it's just the fit. It doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And they're trying to go and double down. And the only reason that they're probably going to end up being saved from themselves is because of Bradley Beal. Right? Because if they could, they would probably right now trade for Zach Lavine. But Bradley Beal's not going to say no. And again, for Bradley Beal, it makes no sense. Right? Like, why would he want to go to he just got off of a bad team to go to Phoenix to try to contend. And now, what? He's going to waive his no-trade clause so he can go to a bad team that's about to start a rebuild? Like, it's illogical. It would make no sense for Bradley Beal to want to do that. Right? Like, that's why, like, almost all of these reports make no sense. Like, even, like, I don't know, like, why would Bradley Beal want to go to Milwaukee? That just talks about Milwaukee. One, I have zero idea why Milwaukee would want Bradley Beal. You got Damian Lillard. Again, you're falling into the same trap that Phoenix fell into. But whatever, they want to do that. Why would Bradley Beal want to do that again? Because yes, he'd be going to a contender, he'd be going to a team that may be able to win, but he's going to the same trap that he's in right now. And what's going to happen is you're going to have the redundancy again, and he's going to be a redundancy and just irrelevant again. Like, it makes no sense. None of these trades that have came up make sense for Bradley Beal, the Suns, right? If they get Jimmy Butler, yeah, that makes sense. But, like, most of them don't make sense for Bradley Beal. So he's not going to waive his no-trade clause. That's why you keep getting these reports of, like, oh, they might trade him here. And then you get reports shortly after that's like, yeah, Bradley Beal ain't waiving his trade clause to go there. Like, because, again, it doesn't make sense for Bradley Beal. He doesn't want to go to a bad team. He wants to go to a team in which he can contend. So you need to find a team that fits him and makes sense. The problem is, how many teams need that? How many teams? Like, Miami made sense if they were able to keep Jimmy Butler, but that relationship's ruined, right? Like, they just suspended him for the 3rd time, this time indefinitely, and he, like, walked out on practice and stuff like that. Like, that relationship's tarnished. But if it wasn't, then yeah, Bradley Beal made some sense. But now Bradley Beal makes no sense. Like, who else? Again, like I said, the Lakers make some sense, but I think the Lakers stay as far away from him as possible. Because again, he has the no-trade clause, his injury history. It's just there's too many issues going on, right? It's just there's too much of a headache. It's too much of a gamble for any of these teams. And Phoenix, I think, is stuck. Like I said, in the offseason, they're probably going to end up having to trade Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. I think that's what's going to end up happening. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.